Okay, welcome again in another tutorial of the topic differentiations. So in this tutorial we see the derivative of composite functions by using the product rule. Let's say you have a function y equals to another function u times another function v. So this y is a function of x, this u is a function of x, and this v is a function of x. So this is like y equals to, let me just say yx is just equal to ux times, vx. So this function y equals to uv. Product of two functions. What is their derivative? Okay, this one is u. What is their derivative? So let us solve by first principle. So I know y, this by first principle, manake hii inaongezeka. So u na yenyewe itakuwa imeongezeka na v itakuwa pia imefanyaje? Imeongezeka. So when y ikiongezeka na u inaongezeka na v inaongezeka. So I can naweza nikaifungua hii. So this is just like y plus delta y is just going to be equal to uv, this u times v, plus u delta v, plus v delta u, and of course plus delta u delta v. So now take this equation here, subtract it with this equation here. So we have this equation here, this one, and this one. So take this equation minus this equation. So y minus y is 0, delta y is just remain with delta y. uv minus uv is 0, so you remain with this one. Let me say it's like u delta v plus v delta u plus delta u delta v. So you remain with this. So I can divide now, okay? I can divide with delta x all side. Au labda hii yenye delta v, labda nifanye hivi. Hii ni delta y is equal to, ninao hii hapa ni v delta u hii hapa. And then hapa nitoe delta v nje, nibaki na u plus delta u over delta v. Well, so lazima nifanye hivi. Basi tumefanya hivi. So u plus delta u times delta v. Now, nimetaka tu niwe na delta v moja na delta u moja. Ndio maana nimefanya hivi. So, nimefika hapo. Nimefika kwamba nina delta u. Remember, I am trying to find the derivative of y equals to uv by, delta y by first principle is equal to, v delta u plus we have u plus delta u and then times delta v. So let me divide by delta x. So na hapa itakuwa delta x na hapa itakuwa nini? Delta x. Now remember dy dx ndo nayo itafuta. This is just the limit of delta y delta x as delta x approach 0. So now this dy over dx, which is just equal to this, the limiting value of this delta y delta x, which is this one now, is this one v delta u over delta x, plus we have u plus delta u delta v over delta x. So limit, idea of limit, nisema limit hapa naweza nikaingiza ndani. So this is like dy over dx is just equal to, we have v, and then hapa tuna limit ya delta x approach 0 du dx, okay, plus now notice hii ni u plus delta u. Delta u is a small change in u. So nikichukua u plus delta u plus delta u is just approximately equal to u because delta u is just so small. compared to u. Kwa hiyo hapa sasa nabaki na u, huyu hayupo tena. Okay? Hapa inakuwa ni limit as delta x approaches 0 ya delta v over delta x. Sasa kama limit ya delta y delta x ni dy dx, limit ya huyu ni nini? Du dx. Na limit ya huyu ni nini? dv dx. So what do I get? I get that my dy now, dx is equal to v du dx plus u dv dx. Remember the function was y equals to uv. Sasa dy dx ndo itakuwa hivi. So this now is what we call a product rule. Kwa hii hapa inabidi mtu ufanyaje uikariri. This is what we call the what? The product rule. Inabidi mtu uikariri. Always remember this one. Wala ukariri, there you go. Now, what if you have a product of more than two functions? Let's say on a function here hapa y equals to u v w, ambapo y is a function of x, u is a function of x, v is a function of x, and w is a function of x. Find dy dx, okay? We can also use a product rule, but a different, yani inabadilika kidogo tu hii product rule. Okay, so let's derive kwa ajili ya hii, and then you shall see what happened. Sasa, so we have y equals to u v w. So let's not use first principle, tatutosha. Sasa zile kwa function ambazo ni kwa product ya function mbili tumesema dy dx is equal to v du dx plus u dv dx. Hii ilikuwa ni kwa ajili ya nini? Ya yule jamaa yule y equals to u v. Sasa mgawanya kwa y everywhere. Nigawanya kwa y hapa napata hivi dx. Nigawanya kwa y hapa, remember y is just uv. Kwanza sana nigawanya kwa uv du dx. Hii ni ile ya 2. So nikigawanya kwa y tena hapo, it's just like this uv. So it's just dv dx. So v and v goes, u and u goes. So I remain with 1 over y dy dx is equal to 1 over u du dx plus 1 over v dv dx. You see, this is it's just the same thing, okay? Nime simplify tu kidogo nimepata hapa. Now, look at E3. Hiyo hapo ya product of three function unaweza ukaiandika in this form, uv times w. Kwa hiyo ukaifanya hii kama function moja na hii kama function ya pili, okay? So it's just like two functions. So I can put it now here, okay? So my u now is uv and my v now is w. So a product of three function ni may group the first two functions ili ionekane kama ni just a product of two functions. So this means I can go here now. So this means that it's 1 over y dy dx equals to, my u now is uv, so it's 1 over uv, this one is duv dx, plus my v now is w, so it's 1 over w dw dx, okay? Tuendele hapo sasa. Kwa hiyo nimefika wapi? Nimesema kwamba for this one y equals to uvw, ni sasa niseme 1 over y dy nikiwa nikidifferentiate is just the same as 1 over uv, this one is duv dx plus 1 over w dw dx. Now, sasa look at this, hii ni duv. Sasa hii ni duv dx. So this means the derivative of a product of two functions. So this is just u dv dx. Kwa wale ambao niliwaambia mkariri mkafuata ushauri mpaka hapa hatujapotea. V du dx. So now he can be this thing here. This one can be expressed like this one. So I'm going to put it there now. So this is just 1 over y dy dx equals to 1 over uv. So here we have u dv dx plus v du dx plus 1 over w dw dx. Hii huku. So now tuingize ndani. So what do I get? I get 1 over y dy dx. Okay, so nikichukua huyu zidisha kwa huyu, u na u inakufa, na baki tuna 1 over v dv dx plus, na v na v zitakufa, tabaki 1 over u du dx plus 1 over w dw dx. Lakini mimi natafuta dy dx. Hii ni 1 over y dy dx. So it means I'll have to multiply by y here and of course by y here. But what is y? Y is u v w. So itakuwaje sasa? Itakuwa huku ni y times 1 over y dy dx. Naomba nirudie tu hiyo kwa sababu nimeanza a new page. So hapa nina 1 over u du dx plus 1 over v dv dx plus 1 over w dw dx times, this one is u vw. So what do I get here? The y and y goes. I just obtained dy dx is equal to u and u goes. So I remain with vw du dx plus v and v goes. I remain with uw dv dx plus upper w and w goes, so I just remain with uv dw dx. Now this is also a product rule, but this is for the derivative of a product of 3 functions. Okay, so now kwa wale ambao tutataka kukariri product rule for 3 functions, notice nachukua function v times w, function ile inaobakia ndo na derive. Nachukua function ambayo ni u, nachukua baada hapo nachukua vw zamu yao imeisha. Sasa ni zamu ya u na w kutembea pamoja. Kwa hiyo v sasa ndo anakuwa amebakia, yeye ndo anamderive. So w ametembea na u, w ametembea na v, lakini u na v hajatembea pamoja. So u and v, and then w ndo anakuwa the remaining function, so it's just dw dx. So you can just cram it in that manner. It's easier to remember. So this is for a product of 3 functions. Now let me tell you, I'm not going to derive for a product of 4 functions, but from here you can just see if we have 4 functions, let's say it's x, y, okay, nisingeanzia na x sasa, r, s, t, u, v, w, okay, w, x, y, z. Manake dy, product of 4 function, itakuwa sasa manake w, x, and y, waende pamoja, and then dz, dx. Now w, x, and y wameenda pamoja, good for them. This time is for x, y, and z. Ambaki nani? Amebaki dw. You see? Okay, x, y, and z, they've already moved together. Now what? Okay, x ametembea sasa twice, tumpumzishe. So now it's just w, y, and z. You remain with dx, dz. Okay, so w has walked twice, y has walked thrice. Everybody else twice except y, so tumpumzishe y. So now it's w, x, and z, and then dy, dz. So for 4 functions, I mean dy, dx. Okay? So for 4 function inakuwa hivyo, okay? You don't have to derive zote. For even 10 functions, hivyo. Maanake ikiwa for 10 functions, kwa unaweza kuona product of 4 functions, ziko 1, 2, 3, 4. Product of 10 functions maanake zitakuwa 10. Ambapo hapa kutakuwa na function 9 unazidisha, ile inayobakia unai derive. Just like that. Just like that. It is just so simple. So this now is the product rule. Now, let's solve this example. Call this example 1. So, find now dy dx if y is just equal to 1 plus x squared times 1 minus 2x squared. So this is one function, and we multiply another function. So najua hapo is a product of 2 functions. So I just remember the product rule. Product rule says dy dx is equal to v du dx plus u dv dx. This is for what? Y equals to uv. So hapa just let u is equal to 1 plus x squared, and v now is just equal to 1 minus 2x squared. So here I can get du dx, okay? Differentiate 1 with respect to x, napata 0. So it's 0 plus differentiate x squared with respect to x, napata 2x. Kwa hiyo du dx ni 2x. And then here I can get dv dx. Differentiate 1 with respect to x, napata 0. Okay, 2 ni constant, naitoa nje. Differentiate x squared with respect to x, napata 2x. So hapa nitapata negative 4x. So this one is dv dx, this one is du dx. So now my dy dx is gonna be equal to u, this one, times dv dx, which we have obtained to be minus 4x, plus v, this one, times du dx, which I have obtained to be 2x. So the rest is just algebras. So this will be 4x plus 4x, nimesahau hiyo negative. Kisahau negative hapo naumia tu. So this one is negative 4x minus 4x cube plus, now we have 2x minus 4x cube. So my dy dx, okay, hii minus 4x plus 2x nabaki na minus 2x minus 8x cube. So ndo hiyo hapo. Nikitoa hapo negative 2x nje, hapa ndabaki na 1 plus what? Plus not 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, 4x squared. So this now is my dy dx. See? I just used the product rule. It's very simple. Could have used the differentiation from first principle. It's very difficult. But I have used the product rule. Now look at this other example. Call this example 2. It says find dy dx if y is just equal to what? X squared sine x cos x. So look at this. This now is a product of 3 functions. I have the first function u, second function v, third function is w. So I use now the product rule, but that one which deals with 3 functions. So from, I know dy dx, you see, I easily remember it. What is it? It's just u, let me say it's just vw du dx. So this is v, not u, plus we have uw now. This one is dv dx, plus now we have uv. This one is dw dx. So this is a product rule. So what do I do now? Just let, this one is for when y is just what? uvw. So let u equals to x squared, v equals to sine of x, and w equals to what? Cos x. So my du now dx is just 2x. Okay, naweza kufanya hiyo. And my dv dx, what is it? Hii hapa tulisema ni cos x. So angalia video ya differential coefficients of sin x and cos x. Y is this. And then the w dx is equal to what? Negative sine of x. So hizi inabidi ziwe kichwani tu hizi kuderive. Hizi mbili inabidi ziwe kichwani. Hii hapa inabidi wewe unaiweza tu haraka haraka. You don't have to solve. Like kama vile upo kwenye video tutorial ya kwanza, kati nao tuko kwenye video tutorial ya 15 I think kama sikosei. Sijui ni 14, sijui ni 15, I don't know. So we have these 3. So we have them here and we have that one. So my dy now dx, my dy dx is just v, this one, sine x times w times du dx, plus we have u now. U was x squared times w times dv dx, plus we have what? We have u times v times what? Times dw dx. So what do we get here? Here is x. I'm writing like this kwa ajili ya simplification, okay? Nimeamua 2 sin x cos x niweke pamoja. Plus here we have x squared cos x times cos x is cos squared x. This negative tutasababisha hivi, itakuwa ni x squared sin squared x. So this is just x 2 sin x cos x plus, naweza nikatoa nje x squared. Just want to simplify this to the simplest form, minus sin squared x. So remember trigonometry. Hii manake nini? Hii manake ni x sin 2x. Hii ni sasa na sin 2x jumlisha x squared. Hii ni sasa na nini? Hii ni sasa na cos 2x. Can I simplify it further? Yes. dy dx is just equal to x. Nimeitoa nje x now. It's just sin 2x plus x cos 2x. So this now is the derivative of that function, y equals to x squared sin x cos x, with respect to x by using the product rule. So this was the product rule, guys. See you again in the next tutorial.